Good evening and welcome to Green White Checker TV's presentation of the Area 51 and NextGen Cup Series live from Richmond Raceway in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. This is the hot shoe himself, Nick Chambrone, and I will be covering all of today's action. For today's race, we have 125 laps. A very nice air temperature today is 78 degrees, 55% humidity, very low wind. This is sure to be an exciting, action-packed race. We have just entered our playoffs, which we will talk about in just a moment. 4-race playoffs with a break for the 4th of July holiday in 2 weeks. This track, though, Richmond Raceway, opened in 1946, hosting a AAA Champ Car race at the then 1/2 mile speedway known as Strawberry Hill Raceway. That race was run by the legendary Ted Horn. NASCAR began hosting events at Strawberry Hill Raceway in 1953 and ran that half-mile configuration until 1988, where the half-mile was converted into the present day, what you see on your screen, D-shaped oval. Since then, this track and this configuration has been part of all 3 of the major NASCAR series, including hosting ARCA and NASCAR Wheel and Modified action, and today is hosting our Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. Before we start qualifying, drivers about to make their way out on the track for qualifying, we're going to take a look at our point standings, and we have just reset at 8 races down, 4 to go, and the top 8 have been reset with 2,000 points apiece. Our playoff contenders are the 73 of Mark Brown, the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell, the 78 of Gary Silipinski, the 54 of Kyle Heath, the 47 of John Held, the number 2 of Todd Merkel, the 95 of Mike Peters, and the number 1 of Isaiah Sutherland. Those will be the top 8 cars that we'll be watching today and seeing how they all shake out. Maxwell Caldwell currently 3 wins on the season, so it's very likely he may pick up another one tonight. Won just about half the races so far. Kyle Heath's got a win in the column, and Isaiah Sutherland has 2 wins in that win column. So that's what we're going to keep our eye on. Can one of those drivers pick up an additional win, or will we have a new contender to victory lane like Mike Peters, who has been nipping on the heels of a win? 2 top 5s this season, a couple hard luck races, but able to squeak it into the playoffs, hoping to get up there and get a victory. Got a couple drivers out on the track right now. We'll pull up our timing tower here to see how our drivers shake out. Here's Mark Brown out on the speedway in that number 73. Isaiah Sutherland, the Sutherland used cars number 1. That's one of our championship contenders. Crossed the line second on the board. Kyle Heath in the 54 Meanbury Designs cars jumped up to the fast timer. And we'll look to see Gary Silipinski waiting for his turn. And here he comes out onto the speedway, the 78 Cone Police Furniture Row Chevy Camaro. One of our championship contenders has been battling for wins but unable to get it in the win column. Let's see what he can do on his qualifying lap. Runs a little high coming up to speed. About 2 minutes left to qualifying here. With the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series, we're watching Gary Silipinski's qualifying time. Strong run so far this season for the 78. Now would be the time, if he wants to get hot and put it in the win column, this would be the time to do it. Let's see what his first lap looks like. Cross the line. First lap puts him 3rd on the boards. And looks like Silipinski is going to take that. He shuts it down. Maxwell Caldwell getting ready to come out to qualify. There he is, the 94 Oreos car, 3-time winner this season. Defending champion with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. Maxwell Caldwell up front again and again in these races. Looks like he's trying to build up some momentum there, running the top line. little bit of a different strategy than we saw Silipinski run. Caldwell off into turns 1 and 2 on the first lap of his qualifying run. Down the backstretch now into 3, really driving in hard, trying to get as close to that yellow line as possible. Picking up the throttle here, going to be key, especially on that wide sweeping turn number 4. That's going to put Caldwell up in the 3rd position, takes a spot away from Silipinski. And he's going to shut it down with that 3rd place qualifying run. So a couple drivers we've seen here shutting it down after that 1 qualifying lap. An interesting strategy, one we'll see if that works out for them in the long run. As we're sitting here about 1 more minute left to qualifying. Tires and fuel going to be a little bit of a strategy play here. We have 3 sets of tires in the pits, about 70% fuel, meaning we start our fuel tanks with 70% filled. So the driver's going to have to make more than 1 pit stop and 125 laps. 1 fast repair is allowed, however, for this race. So we pull back up our race stats. Humidity increases just slightly. Track temperature 103 degrees. I think a day race here at Richmond is going to prove that tire wear is going to come into play. A lot of times we hear these next-gen cars kind of pushing on the right front. So we're going to expect something similar today. So tire strategy definitely going to come into play. Who can get that second line rolling? The lane above where everybody else is running. If you can get that line rolling, you may be pretty strong. Pretty strong. So going to be something we will keep an eye on as field beginning to make their way out onto the track. And lining up here, let's take a look at our starting lineup. On the pole, we have the 54. That's Kyle Heath, 1-time winner this season, one of the championship 8. Isaiah Sutherland will be next to him in the number 1, 2-time winner on the race season. And Maxwell Caldwell will be starting from 3rd. Another championship driver, 3 wins on the season. We'll see how it shakes out for the 94 today. Joshua Yarborough starting from the outside 2nd row. Strong qualifying run for the 77 of Mr. Yarborough. Silipinski will start from 5th, searching for his first win. Playoff contender Mark Brown from 6th, and Todd Merkel rolls from the 7th position. Derek Walker will be starting from 8th. Derek Gilray, Derek will be starting from 9th position. Michael Howlett on the Cookie Monster 81 will be starting from 10th. Joseph Morales and Mike Peters, another driver of our championship contenders in the 95, starts outside the 6th row. James Ledford will be starting from 13th and number 48. And Joseph Grijalva, the number 47. The Heartbreak Hotel 2 weeks ago for Grijalva when the system that he was running on shut down on the white flag lap, causing him to lose the race. Will start from 14th. Noel Cowers and Jason Adams line up in the 8th row. Robert Jordan and Roy Scrivano. Scrivano in the number 11. 1-time runner this season. We know he's pretty strong. He starts from the 18th position. Chris Jabou and Roy Grande Jr. starts in the 10th row. And rounding out our field, Lewis Woodall will be starting in the 21st and final position. Field making their way out to the speedway. See the cars getting lined up and starting to roll. Not as big of a field as we usually expect with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series, but we have some strong contenders in this race. Going to be something to watch for our top 8 cars and points. They will be designated on our ticker and timing tower with the green background. It looks like our field still still under caution here. Sorry, thought we were getting ready to go. It looked like the pace car lights were off. Well, we held that for a next additional lap, so we should be going green this time by. We have Kyle Heath, Isaiah Sutherland, Maxwell Caldwell, Josh Sherbo, Gary Silipinski, Mark Brown, Derek Gilray, Derek Walker, James Ledford, and Michael Howlett will be our top 10 starters. 125 laps tonight. Who is it going to be? Where? How is it going to shake out? All of these top 8 point contenders, again, they'll be highlighted on green on our timing tickers. This pace car makes that hard left-hand turn off. Ladies and gentlemen, fans of all ages, it's showtime on Green White Checker TV. Kyle Heath with the early jump on the field. We're side by side for second. Isaiah Sutherland, Maxwell Caldwell, championship contenders. Side by side with Gary Silipinski coming up behind him. Mark Brown sits back there in fifth. So top five playoff cars. Going to be a tricky track to pass on tonight. We always see that at Richmond right there, and you saw Isaiah Sutherland had the momentum on the high side, was able to scooch it around the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell and the Oreo Chevy Camaro. And that's going to be something we have to watch. You're going to have to be pretty quick to make that bottom work. And we know these NextGen Cup Series cars kind of get locked down when they're in step with one another. Richmond always proves to be a difficult track to pass on. We'll see if that continues to hold true today. Got some action a little bit further back in the pack. Here's Mike Peters in the 95. Peters choosing to start a little bit farther in the pack. Didn't take a qualifying run. Currently up to 9th, gained 3 spots on the field already. Just scooched around Derek Walker in that beautiful number 20 Twitch.tv Jalopy car. You see Grijalva with the 47 Ford Performance Motorcraft car. Sneaks it down on the inside of the number 20. Able to scooch by him. We'll see if he clears him here in the 1. Yes, he is able to do so. So we're going to look for Mike Peters to make some moves through the field. The 46 of Derek Gilray just in front of him. Peters going to want to be able to get up to that top 5 the best he can. Maybe trying to play some patience here. We're on lap 6 of 125. So long ways to go for Mike Peters in the Raising Cane's Repairify. Awesome Pizza Shop Roush Performance Ford Mustang. Coming up behind Derek Gilray and the number 46. Beautiful looking paint scheme on that number 46 car. Big run on the inside for Mike Peters. You saw Gilray slip up the track just a little bit. Opens the door. He's still high. Going to open the door for Grijalva as well. They're both going to sneak by the 46 of Gilray. Peters now up to 7th position. Making quick work of these guys. But going to have a little bit of a ways to go with Josh Yarbrough about 2 seconds ahead. Back up front, Kyle Heath currently is leading the pack about 0.4 of a second up on Isaiah Sutherland with Maxwell Caldwell, Gary Silipinski, and Mark Brown tucked in, not too far behind. Good start to the race so far for the number 77 of Josh Yarbrough. We've seen him constantly improve the last couple races and has done so again. All the way up to the 6th spot already. Started up there in 4th, so hanging on to the front pack here. We'll see what kind of lap times he can put in. We see a little battle back here. Here's Gilray and Walker. Gilray trying to get that high side work, but it is just not happening so far. A tough line to run early on, especially only 10 laps into this race. It's usually a line that where we see drivers get up there to the high side, kind of come in a little bit later on. Here we'll jump on board. Gilray, we got Howlett right to his inside, right out of our camera view. There he is. We see his nose starting to come in. So this may be a little bit of a tire strategy play for Gilray, but losing a lot of time. His lap time significantly slower than our leaders by about a second. So we may be backing it down, trying to save those tires, but really losing a lot of time. Gets very close to the wall there on the exit. Up front, we got our drivers kind of in lockstep here, evenly separated between the top three. We see 3 of them in the picture here. The 54 of Kyle Heath, the number 1 of Isaiah Sutherland, and the number 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. Very evenly spread out, so this is going to kind of tells me maybe we are getting into a little bit of a what they say in Formula 1 racing, kind of a DRS train. Sort of what it looks like here with our NextGen Cup cars. Cars kind of in lockstep with one another. Everybody very even on lap times. That time Sutherland slightly quicker. Silipinski the fastest of the bunch in our top 5. So with not a lot of cars here, only 21 cars have signed in. Only 16 of which have made the call to start. So you see drivers there. Merkel 1 lap down on our ticker. He's one of the playoff contenders in the number 2. Ledford in the number 48's 2 laps down. Everybody else showing out. Woodall, Cower, Scrivano, Grande, and Jabot. All out of this race already. Not of an incident. Did not make the call to start. Stuck in the garage area. So with only 16 cars out on the track, cautions might be at a premium tonight. And that pit strategy, when you pit, how you pit, how many tires you take, how much fuel you take, may really come into play for our playoff contenders. Here's Mike Peters showing currently in 8th position. Got passed by Grijalva. Peters with a big run early on. Got slipped around by Grijalva in the 47 and has since just kind of fallen off pace. So this may be a tire strategy play. Maybe he's doing some fuel strategy here, expecting the cautions to not fly today. It's going to be one we'll keep an eye on. You know, this could be one of those races where you may need to pit twice. But if you save fuel, we'll try to go on board here with Peters. Here, listen along. Listen for him lifting and when he's picking up the gas. So we'll take a look at our leader, Kyle Heath. We know Mike Peters. He's a couple tenths off of the fast timers right now. We'll listen for one more corner here on this throttle control. Sounds to me, right there, you hear it in the center of the corner, really rolls out of the gas a lot. We're going to jump up front here. Here's Kyle Heath. We're on board our current leader. Sounds to me like Kyle Heath definitely running a little bit harder with the gas pedal. Starts to approach a lap car. Trying to get eyes on that. The 74 really slaps the wall there. That might have been Robert Jordan, I believe. Way out of shape. But yeah, it sounds like Kyle Heath a lot more in the throttle than Mike Peters. So we'll see what kind of fuel strategy Peters is able to pull off. Will it be enough? Especially if this stays green to only do one pit stop. You save a lot of time under pit lane as Sutherland holding that 0.3 of a second gap to Kyle Heath in front. Trying everything he can. These top 3 cars in lockstep. Silipinski And Caldwell just slightly has fallen off here. Caldwell just about the same lap time. May have made a mistake and lost some time, but still Lipinski holding an even streak. We see him in the back of the picture there. Maxwell Caldwell, as we watch our battle for first. Isaiah Sutherland beginning to approach a little bit closer to Kyle Heath. Gained about a 1/10 of a second that lap. So we'll keep an eye out here for our battle for first. The 54 Mean Marie Designs car and the Sutherland used cars number 1. We know these guys are friends, compete week in and week out. They are buddies. But tonight they are battling it out. 26 laps into this 125 lap race. Still 100 to go. And every position is going to matter for these guys tonight in green. Again, highlighted in green like you see Mark Brown and Mike Peters on the top of the screen. Those drivers are the playoff contenders as Gilray, as he gets lapped by the leaders in the 46, slaps the wall. Kyle Heath able to open up just slightly on Isaiah Sutherland. Looks like Mike Peters really starting to fall off the pace now. Not sure what happened. He has just gotten passed back around by the 81 of Michael Howlett, the Cookie Monster car. And here comes Todd Merkel. Merkel, one of the championship contenders, the only championship contender a lap down right now. He wants to stay ahead of James Ledford in the 48 cars a lap down. Mike Peters really kind of gave up the spot there. Is he really playing this strategy now to stretch this? You hear how out of the throttle he is in the middle of the corner. Picks it up way late. And is off of the gas way earlier than I would expect him to be. Now, tricky part of that strategy, though, as we go and we're watching Mike Peters here, if that is the strategy that he is playing, it is going to be one where he needs to be careful that, one, he stays on the lead lap and he doesn't lose too much time to the leaders. You know, you can run this strategy and back it down all you want, but if you are giving up a second a lap, right now about 5/10 of a second a lap, I don't know if that's going to end up playing in the long run for him. You can't continue to give up time. One driver we see really coming through the field is Grijalva. He is not trying to play any conservative strategy in the 47 Ford Performance Motorcraft Ford Mustang. As he approaches the back, we saw him get around Mike Peters earlier. He scooted around Mark Brown just a while ago and is now getting ready to go on the outside of Joshua Yarbrough, maybe trying to set up for a pass here. Yarbrough with a strong run so far in the top 5, but not if Grijalva has anything to say about it as he drives it in hard to the inside along the yellow line. Yarbrough giving ample room. He knows right now Grijalva a little bit quicker than the 77. Grijalva going to try to find his way around that top lane. You can really keep your momentum up there. So that's going to be something for us to keep an eye on throughout the night. What driver can make that work? Now we're 33 laps into this run. So this is when we would start to see that tire strategy come into play. That lap 30, 35, 40, where we see tires begin to fall off, drop lap times, really start to fall off. I look at lap times right now of our leaders. They're about a second and a half off of their quick time right now. So definitely tire wear is at work here. Who is able to save these tires the best? Getting that right front tire. Really, as Grijalva slaps the wall just slightly. Loses a little bit of ground to Yarbrough. We're going to jump back up front now. Sutherland has closed back in on Kyle Heath. This is the closest he has been. Just about 0.2 of a second off, trying everything he can to get around him, get one of those pivotal laps led. Closes it in with a big run and shoots it to the inside. Heath not going to challenge him. He knows right now Sutherland a little bit quicker. And mark that one down. The Sutherland used cars number 1 has just gained the lead. Very, very patient for Isaiah Sutherland, able to scooch it around the 54, and let's see if he opens up the gap here. He has already by about 0.4 of a second on just one single lap. So Sutherland may have been biding his time as he's getting ready to go on the inside here. That's Derek Walker in the number 20, twitch.tv/Jalopy. Very entertaining channel if you've not been on it. Slaps the wall there, unfortunately, in front of our leaders. Oh, no! It looks like a little bit of an incident for Kyle Heath. Oh, my goodness. Kyle Heath gets into Derek. Oh, my goodness gracious. Not what Kyle Heath wanted to have happen there. Unfortunate incident. Let's go back and see. Firstly, here's the pass of Sutherland on the inside of Kyle Heath. Good pass. Heath giving him the spot. And as they approach the number 20, you'll see the 20 car, Derek Walker, run high. Not quite there yet. We'll continue to follow this. This is a replay. Where pass for the lead, trying to watch the incident here of what happened between Kyle Heath and Derek Walker. We caught it just out of the glimpse of our eye. Heath able to hold on to that second position, though, but that really opened up the door for Sutherland to get ahead. Here's Walker. He gets into the wall there, and coming off of turn 4, almost turns down the track into Kyle Heath. Not sure what exactly happened there, but it was fortunate for Kyle Heath to get away with that. That kept Zilipinski and Caldwell behind him. So current running order. Let's take a look at our field here. We're 41 laps in. Right now, our current leader is the number 1 Sutherland Used Cars Virtual Academy. Chevy Camaro of Isaiah Sutherland, trying to get his 3rd win on the season, and is currently has a 2-second lead over this command. This is the 54 Me Marie Designs. Youthful Nectar, number 54 of Kyle Heath, sits in 2nd. Recovered well from that incident we saw with Derek Walker. This is Gary Silipinski in the Cone Police Furniture Row, number 78, sits in 3rd. And Maxwell Caldwell has dropped a spot from his starting position, the Oreo Caterpillar Pinnacle, number 94 Chevy Camaro. Behind him, good run so far, top 5 for Joshua Yarborough in the number 77, best running Toyota Camry of the night. Joseph Grijalva about 2 seconds off of him. In the Ford Performance Ford Mustang GT, sits in 6th position. Mark Brown, one of our playoff contenders, in the number 73 car, sits in 7th, unsponsored if you're looking for a sponsorship opportunity. And Michael Howlett in the Cookie Monster number 81 sits in 8th position. Mike Peters in the number 95 Ford Mustang Roush Repairify Awesome Pizza Shop One Guard Machine sits in 9th. And that's actually the last car in the lead lap. 10th on back. Todd Merkel, one of our championship contenders, sits in 10th, 1 lap off the pace. Joseph Morales, we just see him go a lap down on the Rockstar Energy drink number 60. Derek Walker, we saw him with that incident. The Twitch.tv Jalopy 20 car Chevy Camaro sits 12th. James Ledford in the Exalted 48 sits 13th. Jason Adams, the Jeff Gordon lookalike, DuPont Pepsi GMAC Chevy Camaro sits in 14th. Derek Gilray sits in 15th. And the Muchachong Mornings Decaf Coffee number 46. And Robert Jordan, Lewis Woodall off the pace. So we look back up front now. Isaiah Sutherland beginning to lose some time to Kyle Heath, who was starting to claw back into this lead. You know, we know these guys are buddies. He may have let Sutherland ahead to let him lead a couple laps, get some additional points. Believe there is bonus points for the laps led. And just didn't quite work out for Sutherland with Derek Walker coming off the wall and making some contact with him. As we watch from Isaiah Sutherland's cam, he's going on the inside. That is Todd Merkel going a second lap down. Not a good night so far for Todd Merkel, but currently sits in 10th, so we should stay fairly in points contention. Didn't lose too much time so far. Kyle Heath and Gary Silipinski, tight battle for second. Really have stretched their legs out for Maxwell Caldwell. Again, we said about 15 laps ago, tire strategy definitely coming into play here for some of these guys. You see Derek Gilray up top. We know he's one of the slower contenders tonight. Not a shot at Derek. Just doesn't quite have the speed in that number 46. Able to really drive around our leader. Silipinski with a big lockup on the inside of Kyle Heath. Wow, what an interesting incident that was. Silipinski goes and sends it up the inside of Kyle Heath and not able to do it. Both drivers lost a lot of time there to our leader. That's going to allow Maxwell Caldwell to close back in slightly. Tight battle here. This is for 4th and 5th. Joshua Yarborough able to try to get it on the inside of Maxwell Caldwell. Shadow is starting it a little bit longer here at Richmond. Caldwell giving up the spot to the 77. Going to try to play it safe for now. So Caldwell, we want to keep an eye on him. Did he start to really back it down here for some fuel mileage strategy? Or is this... As one car sits there, caution has come out. Yellow, yellow, yellow on the speedway. This is going to throw all of that strategy talk out the window. Let's take a look at the caution. What happened here? I think that's the 48 of James Ledford. We'll back it up to see what happened. Here's James Ledford. Runs down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. Did he try to come to pit lane? He slides way high. Oh, and Mike Peters! What in the world was that? Oh my goodness gracious. Let's go on board here. I want to go on board with Mike Peters to see what he saw and all that. Just nowhere to go. We'll go back and take a look at this as we got leaders coming to pit lane. We got Isaiah Sutherland, Kyle Heath, Gary Silipinski, Josh Yarborough, Maxwell Caldwell, Joseph Grijalva, all coming to pit lane. Luckily for Mike Peters, able to stay on the lead lap after all that incident. We'll keep an eye on. We'll go back and try to watch one more time from on board of Mike Peters. I'd like to see the onboard shot of that one because I think James Ledford just kind of swept him out. Definitely an odd way to enter pit lane. It's like I expect all drivers to take 4 tires here. And that looks like what they're doing. Who's going to be the first off of pit lane? Sutherland beats him off. Silipinski may beat Kyle Heath off pit lane. It's like Mike Peters stayed out. So, it's like I got Isaiah Sutherland, Gary Silipinski, Kyle Heath, Josh Yarborough. So let's back up our camera here once more. I want to try the jump. Here we go. Now we're on board Mike Peters. Watch the car in front of him. That's James Ledford in the 48. We see Ledford in the 2nd or 3rd lane. Turns it down the track to enter pit lane in front of Mike Peters. I am not sure what the 48 was thinking, but Mike Peters just nowhere to go. Luckily, doesn't appear to be too much damage on that car. We know Mike Peters currently in pit lane here. May take the fast repair. May say, you know what? The car ain't too bad. So we'll see if he keeps it going. And again, I believe he is on the lead lap. So, yeah, repairing the damage here, it appears. We see him sitting there. No jack stands underneath the car. So we'll see. Does he give up the spot, though? He might go a lap down here. And he does. Mike Peters stays in pit lane, going to give up a lap, trying to get this car repaired, hoping for another caution flag. We'll see if that happens. What kind of a risky strategy there for Mike Peters. So right now we sit. Let's look at our lineup here. We see some cars in front of Isaiah Sutherland. Those cars are a lap down, most likely to get a wave around. That's Derek Walker and Jason Adams. We got Isaiah Sutherland. Gary Silipinski did beat Kyle Heath off of pit lane. He sits in third. Behind them, we got Josh Yarbrough, then Maxwell Caldwell. The driver's starting to line back up now. We're getting ready to go. Joseph Grijalva, this is going to be a good reset for him. He sits in 6th position. Gained 8 spots since the start of this race. Let's see if he can gain some more. Their field making their way down the backstretch. Again, small field tonight with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series, so I don't know if we'll get another caution flag or not. This field, green flag is out. They enter the restart zone, and drivers back underway. Isaiah Sutherland has streaked back out to the lead with Kyle Heath right behind him. Gary Silipinski sits in 3rd position. And Maxwell Caldwell is squeaked on by Joshua Yarbrough for 4th. And Joseph Grijalva able to sneak it up into the 5th position. So last run, we made it 53 laps on 1 tank of gas. 53 laps. We restarted here with about, I believe we were on lap 60 when we restarted. So to push it to the end of this 125 lapper may be tough. Drivers, though, I didn't see too many pull off in the pit lane. Could this be a race of tire strategy? Is it going to be worth it to stay out and not come down pit lane? Can you save enough of fuel to do that? Or will you have to come and pit? Is there too big of a lap time discrepancy? Right now we're driving some of the best laps of the race right now. We're 22.56. Caution has come out. Caution, caution, caution. Derek Walker appears to be having a problem. Derek Walker, number 20 car. Let's take a look at what happened. We see Walker, the number 20 pink Twitch.tv Jalopy car. Exits. Looks like turn 2. Has to get way out of the gas. I'm not sure if there was contact. There's definitely contact there. And spins it down to the inside. I'll back it up here. Let me get a view on here's Jason Adams. We're watching this in slow motion. The 20 car with the incident. Does he make contact? We see Derek Walker pushing out to the wall. And yeah, right there. Big time contact. And hard in the inside wall for the number 24 Walker. I don't think with too much damage. And yeah, Jason sneaks around him there. So one thing we want to watch here, we got a couple cars. We got anybody in pit lane? It does not appear so. Our top 5 or 6 have stayed out. Let's see if we get a word with Isaiah Sutherland here. Isaiah Sutherland, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Isaiah, we watch you kind of hold your time there. We're patient with Kyle and was able to sneak around him before that first caution flag, and now you're the current leader. How's the car feel out there tonight, and what do you got to do to keep it in that number one position?
I mean, it feels honestly really well tonight. Me and Kyle, teammates, and we're doing a good job working together here and trying to keep the pace up, but also, save some of our stuff. So, car feels good. The race is going good as long as I can keep it up here in the top two with Kyle here. Maybe we can just bring it home tonight. Victory lane, first, second.
All right, that sounds great to us. We'll keep an eye on you here. It's been fun watching you and Kyle battle it out, and I'm excited for the last 50 laps or so. Good luck.
10-4. Thanks, buddy.
And that was Isaiah Sutherland, the Sutherland Used Cars Virtual Academy #1, our current leader. We'll see if he's able to stay up there. His teammate that he spoke of, Kyle Heath, in the 54 Marie designed Chevy Camaro. Always up front, able to get that kind of a controversial win earlier in the season at Texas Motor Speedway, where Maxwell Caldwell and him made contact coming to the checkered flag off of turn 4. That's going to be something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. While we have a caution flag here, we are going to sneak out just for a very brief break here. I'll be back before the cars get lined back up. Just going to take out a 30-second TV timeout. And we are back on Green White Checker TV. We're going to restart this race with 70 laps of 125 completed, where we will have 55 laps left to go. 50 laps left to go, I believe. And then we are restarted. Here we go. Gary Silipinski drives in and hard on the inside of Kyle Heath. Going to try to get that position again. Playoff time, 4 races in this championship, so every position matters with Maxwell Caldwell really sending it in there. Kyle Heath on the high side. Gary Silipinski on the inside. Good battle so far for second as Sutherland begins to streak away from these two. Silipinski pushes up the track. That may open the door for Heath to clear him. Yeah, and he does down the backstretch. Does he close the door all the way? Leaves a lane open for Silipinski, but closes on exit. That may open it up for Caldwell to make a run on the inside of Gary Silipinski. Off into turns 1 and 2. Caldwell and Silipinski side by side through tricky turns 1 and 2 here at Richmond. That inside very difficult to make work tonight. We saw a lot of drivers attempt it, unable to make it happen. And the same thing is happening there. Just can't quite pick up the throttle like he would want to. And that's going to cause Caldwell to tuck back in. Making a pass on the inside there. Gonna be very difficult for any driver to do. And that's a tricky thing with Richmond, especially in these NextGen Cup Series cars. Just really unable to get the throttle application down and get the corner exit that drivers would like to have. And not sure exactly what that is with these cars. We watch these top 4 kind of under a blanket, nose to tail. They surely run close together. Caldwell gets very close to the rear bumper of the Cone Police 78, but almost impossible to make a pass on the inside unless the driver really gives you the position. And As we start to approach the back half of this race, those positions are going to be very hard to come by. We have less than 50 laps to go now. We're well into the second portion of this endeavor, and unless drivers start killing the tires here, I think that's the only way you're going to be able to make passes. So for a guy like Kyle Heath, for a guy like Gary Silipinski or Maxwell Caldwell, hanging here with the leaders, maybe a safe play. Kind of back your car up a little bit. Conserve your right front tire, your right rear tire the best that you can. We see Kyle Heath really pushing it hard right now to try to catch up to the number 1 of Isaiah Sutherland. Sen seems to be driving it in very hard, sliding up the track a little bit. That's going to kill his right front tire pretty quickly. So definitely something we're going to keep an eye on as we continue through the rest of this evening. The other thing to know here is we're not quite sure when or if we need to pit again. So it could be a strategy for a lot of these guys. Just try to keep the car under you. Try to drive it to the end. We know we went the first 53 laps of the race without needing to pit. Are they able to do that again? If you can just about match that, maybe go a little bit longer, you're going to be able to make that happen. We had 2 cautions since our last pit stop. Really, we pitted 2 cautions ago. We had 1 caution after that. So with those quick caution flags, could be something that these drivers use to their advantage. Right now, Isaiah Sutherland leads. And this Sutherland Used Cars Virtual Academy number 1. Kyle Heath sits in second spot. The MeMarieDesigns.com Logitech Youthful Nectar 54. The Eagle of Kyle Heath sits second. Gary Silipinski about half a second off of him in the Cone Police Furniture Row 78. Silipinski trying everything he can to get around Kyle Heath on that last restart. Unable to do it, is now just kind of leveled in behind about 0.4 of a second off the rear bumper. Kyle Heath. Maxwell Caldwell, not the best run tonight for Maxwell Caldwell. He is running in 4th position, but I would have thought he had a little bit more for these drivers in front of him. I believe the last race he mentioned, this is not quite one of his favorite tracks. So, maybe this is what he wants to do. Just tries to keep it safe as he gets ready to roll in to next week and then the 4th of July break. Next week, we will be heading to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Maxwell Caldwell's good at half miles. Then the 4th of July break. Then we end Dover and Michigan to end out our season here with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. Grijalvo, big mover of the race, plus 9 positions from his starting spot. The 47 Ford Performance Motorcraft Ford Mustang sits in 5th. Mark Brown, one of our playoff contenders, the 73, sits in 6th position. Joshua Yarbrough, strong run tonight, lost a couple positions, but still holding strong in the 7th spot. Then Michael Howlett in the Cookie Monster number 81 sits in the 8th position. Mike Peters, final car on the lead lap, and the number 95 Raising Cane's Repairify One Guard Awesome Pizza Shop Roush Performance number 95 Ford Mustang. We saw the incident earlier. Looks like the nose damage has been repaired. Hopefully the car's still running strong for Mike Peters. And he was one driver we know was earlier on was trying to play that fuel strategy game. May that be the move of the race. May that be what plays out and is able to help him secure the final victory. Back up front, though, we jump back, take a look at Isaiah Sutherland. Kyle Heath slightly is closed back in. Not sure if he's able to do anything with all of that, though. Going to be something we keep an eye on. Top 3 just about all of 4/10 apart pretty equally. Look at that lap time here. We'll catch it here. as we roll through turns 3. Look how close our leaders are, but Caldwell just a hair off. Unable to really gain anything, however, on one another. We see them in pretty much lockstep. We watch Gary Silipinski here. Starting to run a little bit slower than our leaders. Sutherland and Heath really opened up the gap there. That allowed Caldwell to close back in on Gary Silipinski. Not quite sure what happened to Silipinski. May have just slipped a tire, slid up the track a little bit to lose about 0.3 of a second that last lap. But our battle for our lead is where we're really starting to close back in here between Heath and Sutherland. Move a little bit further back. Here's Joshua Yarborough on the inside of Mark Brown, able to squeak around him. That's going to open the door for Michael Howlett to close in the gap. Now, Mark Brown in the championship battle wants to not give up those positions if possible. But unfortunately, right now, has to give them up. Not as quick as the two drivers around him. Howlett runs really high, maybe trying to gain a little bit of momentum up there to sneak around the 73. Beautiful looking Cookie Monster 81 of Michael Howlett. Back up front, we're going to have our eyes here. There's Isaiah Sutherland. Kyle Heath right behind him. These drivers, teammates and friends. We spoke to Sutherland earlier. He said they are, in fact, working together tonight. So not what the competition want to hear. Two drivers. We know that they're teammates, know that they're working together. Currently runs 1 and 2. Gary Silipinski sits in 3rd. Maxwell Caldwell in 4th. Joseph Grijalva, about a second off of this group, sits in 5th position. So top 4 contenders are 4 of our playoff drivers. Mark Brown, Mike Peters, Todd Merkel with kind of a not the best runs this evening, but still 30 laps to go. Anything can happen. One driver in the playoffs we don't see, John Held, unable to make the call tonight. So the tough luck for John Held that he's not able to make it out for this race. As now we start to have a little bit of a gap closing in here. Gary Silipinski losing a lot of time to our leaders, but Maxwell Caldwell able to reel him back in. We know we saw him try on the inside before. Is he going to be able to try it on the inside again? On board. We're on board here. Maxwell Caldwell. This is the battle for 3rd position. Caldwell almost gives a bumper. As up front, though, Kyle Heath also in a tight battle here with Isaiah Sutherland. All of a sudden, this race where these guys were evenly sprung out has closed back in. Sutherland, though, able to open up the gap as Caldwell sneaks on by the inside of Silipinski. That might open up the door for Grijalva. This battle about a second or so off of our leaders. Second and a half off of our leaders. This is our battle for 3rd now. Silipinski gave up a spot to Caldwell. Now Silipinski and Grijalva battle for 4th and 5th position. Can Maxwell Caldwell turn up the heat in the number 94? Can he start reeling back in the teammates, the number 1 and 54 of Isaiah Sutherland and Kyle Heath? We'll check lap times this time by. Caldwell slower than the 2 leaders. Kyle Heath, fastest car on the track as Silipinski slips up the track a little bit. That may open the door for Grijalva to sneak by. He's looking high, kind of look low here into the corner. Sends it up the inside of Silipinski. Kind of catches Silipinski off guard. Near contact made. But Grijalva trying to sneak on by of one of our top 8 point contenders, Gary Silipinski. Grijalva, good run out of turn 2. Sneaks it down to the inside now. Can he get clear of Silipinski, who drives them very hard into turns 3 and 4? But Grijalva picks up the throttle a little bit quicker. Does he get him clear as they go into the front stretch? Yes, he does, but he doesn't close the door. Grijalva, all of a sudden, this car disappears. I believe his connection may have fallen out as he was battling for third position. Back up front now. This is where we want to have our eyes. These two drivers have swapped the lead back and forth all night. Kyle Heath tires really starting to go away now. Kyle Heath and Isaiah Sutherland with Maxwell Caldwell about 2 seconds off the lead. Silipinski about 3.5 seconds off of the lead. But we're watching our battle here. We are on board of Kyle Heath, the Me Marie Designs youthful Nectar number 54. 1 win on the season. Would love to start the playoffs outright with a big win here at Richmond Raceway, hosting races, stock car races since 1953. Began as a horse racing track before being converted into automobile racing after World War II with the first race, 1948. The AAA Champ cars won by Ted Horn, at that time known as Strawberry Hill Raceway. Then the Richmond Fairgrounds, now the Richmond Raceway. So we have one heck of a battle for the lead. 0.2 of a second is all that's in it between Isaiah Sutherland and Kyle Heath. The Sutherland used cars number 1 leads. We're on board to 54 of Kyle Heath as Sutherland slips high. That may open the door for Kyle Heath. Sutherland, though, able to close it back in, get a good exit. As we watch our drivers battle, nose to tail through turns 1 and 2, 19 laps to go. Going to keep an eye on here. If these drivers can stretch it to the end, we are not sure. We know tires really falling off at this point in the game. Again, we're about that second half. Ooh, and that was a close call again for Kyle Heath. We know he had that little incident with Derek Walker earlier. Walker just about did the same thing again, trying to stay out of the way. Rockets by the 24 of Jason Adams, I believe, let those guys kind of backed off the throttle a bit. No harm, no foul, any of that altercation, just about back where we were earlier. Looks like James Ledford with an incident, but no caution yet. We'll see if the caution does come out, and it does not appear so. That may be what Kyle Heath wants to see. I think he wants to see this thing stay green because right now he's got the speed under that number 54 Me Marie Designs car. Isaiah Sutherland may have cooked those tires up with 16 laps to go as we cross the line this time by. Right now, Kyle Heath all but tasting the first place position. Isaiah Sutherland holds it. Kyle Heath wants it. With 16 laps to go with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series here live on Green White Checker TV from Richmond Raceway. First race of 4 for our 2022 playoff series. 8 races down, 3 more after tonight. Whoever gets the win tonight is going to have that first place position entering Atlanta Motor Speedway, the tricky 1.5 mile speedway next week. But before we get there, we got a 15-lap duel between 2 of the best drivers in the series, with Maxwell Caldwell sitting about 2 seconds back from this battle. Gary Silipinski in 4th, and Joshua Yarborough sits in 5th position. Seems like Sutherland able to open up the gap after Heath closes it back in. Kind of an ebb and flow to this. We see Sutherland pushes up a little bit higher sometimes, and that's when Kyle Heath is able to close back in. He's going to continue to apply the heat and apply the heat that he can. Tries a little bit of a different line there. Let's see if it pays off. Gets a big run down the back stretch, but it kind of levels out about midway through. going to have to try something a little bit different here. It appears in turns 3 and 4, Isaiah Sutherland, that is where he is at his weakest. Kyle Heath drives in hard to the inside, tries to catch Sutherland off guard. Not able to do so is Derek Gilray, the 46. That's a lap car who has pitted and has fresh tires. Closing in on the back of these guys. Will he try to go around him? It looks like he does. May want to sneak around these guys as fast as possible. That's going to hurt the exit for Kyle Heath in the 54. And Gilray needs to make a decision here. You either go around them or you back off and let these guys battle out. As he does slap the wall again, that is not what you want to do as a lap car. Again, the 46 is a lap machine. He needs to get around these drivers and pull away from them if he wants to be hit. Doesn't want to play a role here. That's not what he's trying to do, but unfortunately that's what was happening. Now back here, 10 laps to go. This is our battle for first position. Isaiah Sutherland leads Kyle Heath in second. Number 1 versus number 54. Both drivers. Todd Merkel in the number 2 slaps the wall a little bit. That's one of our playoff contenders. Merkel in 10th place, though. Going to try to make it and limp it to the end. Tires really starting to go away now. We're about 2 seconds slower than we started this run with, but Sutherland and Heath have really opened up the gap to Maxwell Caldwell now, so it is a battle of our teammates. Isaiah Sutherland and Kyle Heath. Now Isaiah Sutherland, 2 wins on the season so far. Would love to make it a third. That'd be the tied for best in the series. Kyle Heath trying to get win number 2 on the board, but most importantly, we are in our playoffs now, so whoever gets the win here is going to be able to walk into Atlanta next weekend with an advantage. The Sutherland used cars number 1, the Me Marie Designs number 54, getting closer and closer. Kyle Heath can all but taste the lead now. He's got that carrot dangled out in front of him and just chasing and chasing and chasing. Gets within a car length but unable to do anything with it. As we come to 6 laps to go now as we cross the line this time by out of turn 4. Down the front stretch, the D-shaped oval here at Richmond Raceway. Kyle Heath may be thinking, what can I do? Can I coax Isaiah Sutherland into a mistake? I would love to be a fly on the wall in their team radio channel right now. I would venture to guess that there's all but crickets in there as these guys battle out. They're closing in behind the lap car. That's Mike Peters just ahead. Peters going to try to stay well clear of here. Yes, he goes way, way high for these drivers in the lead. Stays way high for these two. Really backs off there, too, to let Heath get a good exit at the turns 2. 5 laps to go down the backstretch. Isaiah Sutherland has read the majority of these laps. Kyle Heath was able to lead the most of the opening laps. Oh, kind of a flip-flop of what we saw in that first run. 0.2 of a second is all that is in it. Kyle Heath, look at this little bit of a good, interesting line there through turns 1 and 2. Tries to run a little bit higher. Let's see if it pays off down the backstretch. I don't think so. Kind of holds it nice and even. But this is where Sutherland has his weak spot there in turns 3 and 4. Kyle Heath able to drive it in a little bit harder and get a little bit of a better exit than Isaiah Sutherland. 3 laps to go now. Going to try that high side again, a little bit closer this time. What can Kyle Heath do with it? We see Sutherland really pick up the throttle early and open up a big gap on Kyle Heath. Coming to 2 laps to go now. Heath closed back in the time that he lost in turns 1 and 2. 2 to go. He may want to drive it in down to the inside as we see Sutherland now moves up to the high side a little bit. Kind of balanced out there. Down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. Kyle Heath on the bumper now of Isaiah Sutherland. Can he get there as the white flag is out? This is our final lap. Kyle Heath sends it up the inside. That kind of startled Isaiah Sutherland, who kept it high. Sutherland on the outside. Kyle Heath on the inside down the backstretch. Sutherland with a big exit. And that may do it for Isaiah Sutherland. Kyle, he's going to need to make some magic happen here. Sutherland drives it in hard, slides up the track just slightly, but it appears to be enough. Isaiah Sutherland crosses the line at first with Kyle Heat hot on his tail. What a great battle between teammates as Maxwell Caldwell appears across the line in third position, followed by Gary Silipinski, Josh Yarborough, Mark Brown, and Michael Howlett round out our lead lap. Michael Peters, Jason Adams, Todd Merkel, Derek Gilray, and Joseph Morales round out the cars that were able to complete the victory. And Isaiah Sutherland pulls it down to the front stretch. What a spectacular win for him. What a fun battle to watch. Those last 20 laps or so between Sutherland and Heath. It's going to be an exciting interview to talk to those guys. But first, we're going to jump in and have a chat with our third place finisher of Maxwell Caldwell. Strong run for Maxwell Caldwell. Let's see if we can go and find Maxwell and have a word with him. Maxwell Caldwell, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy? Well, Maxwell, you had a strong run tonight. Didn't look like you had quite enough a car to get up there and battle Isaiah and Kyle, but tell us a little bit about your night.
I lost it in qualifying. Me and Gary both did. So we screwed up coming out of turn 4 on our first lap to start our second, and the second lap's the fast lap here. So I had to reset, squeeze out what I could in qualifying just to start third. But this was a track position game. If you started up front, your right front got saved way more than anybody that was behind you. You could be 3/10 faster than the guy and be behind him and couldn't pass him. So great job for Isaiah, though. He's strong here at the short tracks, and Kyle's teammate, they both run really well. So not taking anything from them, but couldn't ever save the right front even if I backed it down. It was just, it was one of those setups that Dirty Air was terrible on the right front. So I think both runs I got down to 45% on the right front. So to bring it home third is the best I could do. Gary had one more lap, I would have finished fourth. So it was all in all decent race, but didn't get the bonus points like we needed tonight.
Yeah, and next week it looks like we're headed to Atlanta. Tell us what your thoughts are about that track, and you think you kind of turn around and get up there into the P1 position next week?
Yeah, mile and a half have seemed to be pretty strong for our team. Me and Gary are kind of fired up after tonight. Not mad or nothing, but just fired up after finishing third and fourth. We want to get back up front, so I think we're going to go into next week and we're going to bring something for them. We're going to drive it as hard as we can, and we're going to make a run for it. We're going to try to lead every lap and see what we can do. It's playoffs, man. Got to be aggressive.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Before we let you go tonight, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first and foremost, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, man, I couldn't come here and do this. He's been so good to me and blessed me. Just, it's awesome. Thankful for him. Thankful for you guys, Green White Checkered, putting on a great show. Nick, you do an awesome job. Try to listen in while I'm racing each week to hear about the yellows and different things, and you just paint a beautiful picture on the broadcast, so you do a great job. Thankful for the league for putting this on, and then my teammates, man, Mike Peters, Gary Kopinski, Todd Merkel. Run with those guys each and every week, and yeah, we're ready to work together and get some practice in this week and tear them up in Atlanta. Excellent.
Great run tonight, Maxwell. We're excited to see what you can do at Atlanta, and good luck with the remainder of the season.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And that was a Maxwell Caldwell. Now we are going to jump to our second place finisher, Kyle Heath. Kyle Heath, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I sure do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Well, Kyle, looks like you led the early stages of the race, and at the end there just couldn't quite get around Isaiah. Tell us about your night.
It was good. Me and Isaiah came in with a game plan. We actually stuck to it, and it worked out for both of us. And at the end, I was trying to get around him. No doubt about that. I just didn't want to bump him and wreck both of us. And plus, I think I had a little bit of damage on my right front.
Yeah, tell us what it was like out there. From our perspective up here in the booth, it looked like it was really hard to pass. I think at the end there, you may have had a little bit more speed than Isaiah, but it just seemed anytime he got to the inside, I think he did that 2 or 3 times, he was able to just drive away on the top. How difficult was it to make a pass out there tonight?
It's pretty difficult. You definitely got to at least drive it in there on somebody, but then you got to worry about washing up, especially with old tires. And on the bottom, you get such a good run off with older tires than you can on the top, it seems. Because if you try to get a good run off the top with older tires, you just want to push up the track.
All right, and before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Thanks to Area 51 for putting this on, and this is my first full season with this group, and I made it to the playoffs. Thankful for you guys for putting this out there. I mean, I enjoy watching the broadcast, and a big thanks to my teammates, Jason and Isaiah, and a big thanks to my wife at MeMarieDesigns.com.
All right, congratulations on your second place finish here, Kyle, and good luck with the rest of the playoffs.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, and that was Kyle Heath. And now we are going to speak to Isaiah Sutherland, our winner for the evening. Isaiah Sutherland, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Heck yeah, man, I got you.
Well, Isaiah, you got the lead about at the halfway point of the race and didn't seem to ever look back. Kind of made it look easy out there, but I'm sure it wasn't. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, first off, in practice, me and my teammate Kyle Heath and Jason Adams, he was also in here tonight. We had a plan. We wanted to work on long runs more than anything in practice, and so we didn't worry about running fast times for qualifying or anything. We just worried about running long runs in practice, and we figured qualifying is important, but we should be able to qualify in the top 10. Somehow, we qualified first and second, so that made things a lot easier, and we were able to keep control of the entire race, just keeping the lead between me and him. And I was able to save tires on that first run a little bit better than Kyle was. So he let me on by, and we got back in line together, and I was able to keep the lead. And at the end, Kyle actually saved his tires a lot better than I did, and I just couldn't get the car to turn. It was just really tight. The front right was definitely burnt off. So every time he would get on me, especially in turn 1, he would get underneath me. I'd leave the bottom open, hoping I can get a run off the top, which really helped me. So it was I'm excited. It's 3 wins in the season. It's such a great way to get the playoffs started. And Kyle and my teammates, they all did a wonderful job tonight, especially Kyle.
Yeah, what is it like when you're in the lead there about 25 laps to go and you got a car just hot on your heels? I know a lot of drivers in that position make a mistake trying to look in the mirror, trying to drive ahead. Tell us a little bit what that's like, and if you broke a sweat while you were doing it.
Oh, yeah, man. I always break a sweat. I try so hard. I think I pop brain vessels. But, if it was anybody else behind me, the main thing I do is I never look in my rear view unless I see them closing right in on my bumper, so I can move out the way. But, the best thing that's helped me is to just look straight forward and keep running the same lines you're running. Make sure you don't make any mistakes, hit the throttle too soon or whatnot. And if you keep doing that, it's really hard for someone to get by you. Now, Kyle, he's an exception. He's one of my teammates, and we love battling each other. If we weren't in the playoffs, I'm sure we'd be beating and banging and everything else. And, I told him with 20 or 15 to go, I said, man, let's run this thing. Let's battle it out. So that's what he did. We're teammates, but when it comes down to winning time, we don't give each other easy time. So, but the best thing to do is just wipe the sweat off your brow, try to calm your heart rate because you're nervous to death, and just look forward and drive.
All right, I think that's good advice that any iRacer could use. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, man. I always got to start off with my parents, mom and dad. They usually watch the races. If they don't, they tune back in afterwards and watch them. Huge shout out to my team at BFR. Motorsports. Again, I say it every week. These guys are so supportive. We really make each other better drivers, and we're able to prove it out here in front of everybody watching. We really work together. We have a wonderful job, wonderful time together, and a wonderful team. So big shout out to them. I got to thank my sponsors, Sutherland Used Cars. That is my uncle's dealership in Union City, Tennessee. It's Northwest Tennessee. You can go to Facebook and search their name, and they have a whole list of cars that you can check out. They have contact information there. So give them a call if you ever find yourself in the area of Union City, Tennessee. Stop by and look at their cars. I also have Virtual Academy on my car. If you're a retired or active duty police officer, you can subscribe for $69.99 a year and take post-approved courses. And you go to subscriptions.virtualacademy.com/sign up. And lastly, Nick, big shout out to you guys. The stream is magnificent to go back and watch, and you guys do a wonderful job.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on your win, Isaiah. We look forward to see if you can park it in victory lane again next week.
We'll give her a shot. Thanks, Nick.
All right, and that was Isaiah Sutherland at the Sutherland Used Cars Virtual Academy #1. Our race winner this evening. We are going to take one final look at our finishing order as we're getting it pulled up. And as we take a look, Isaiah Sutherland, as we know, was our race winner, with Kyle Heath close, very, very close behind. Awesome race between those two. Maxwell Caldwell, Gary Silipinski, close battle for third and fourth there. And Josh Yarbrough, strong run for the number 77. And Josh Yarbrough comes across in fifth position. Points contender Mark Brown comes across in sixth spot with Michael Howlett. Mike Peters, Jason Adams, and Todd Merkel rounds out the top 10. Derek Gilray, Joseph Morales, Derek Walker, James Ledford, Joseph Grijalva with connections into once again in the number 47 comes across 15th. Followed by Robert Jordan, the last car to make a starting spot. Noel Cowers, Roy Scrivano, and others did not make the call to start the race. And that is going to bring an end to our race coverage here on Green White Checker TV with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. And next week, we turn our attention to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 1.5-mile oval of Atlanta Motor Speedway, for the second round of our playoffs and our 10th race overall with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series here on Green White Checker TV. It was another wonderful night of racing action on Green White Checker TV. Thank you all for tuning in, and until we meet again, good night.